Welcome back to Living Our Vision. Today's video is all about how to obtain Starlink internet service without a wait. Are you one of those that have been putting in your address and it keeps coming up saying you're going to be on the waiting list and you don't know when you're going to get it? Well, there's a workaround that, and a lot of people don't know about it, so we thought we would share that with you today. Come back after this intro and we'll show you how.
Follow the road into the sky. Never let adventures pass you by. Be free and follow your crazy dreams. We're living our vision in the RV. Come ride with us and you'll be free.
Today's video is more about how to obtain the Starlink internet service and not so much of how to set it up for the first time. We'll give you a couple tips on that as well, but the setup process is very simple, very easy. But let's talk about how to obtain the service first, because there seems to be a lot of confusion out there. So this, of course, is at the time of this video. To obtain the Starlink satellite, a couple things I want to point out. One, if you go on a laptop or a computer and it shows business at the top and you put in the information and then you get where you're paying and the payment amount is really high, it's like over $1,000, it's trying to give you the business service. And sometimes on a computer and a laptop it does that and you have to get on your phone to do it. But every once in a while it'll be okay. Just look for that amount and make sure it's just right around that $600 and some total, and then you'll know it's for, individual service. The key is just to find an address that the system accepts. That's all that matters. I'll give you 2 addresses that you can actually use right now, as of this video, until it gets too full, and then you'll have to find another address, and then it'll come up with the cost, and you'll go ahead through the ordering process. Otherwise, it's going to tell you that service is not available in your area, and they'll contact you when it is available. You don't need to do that. Put in this address, and one of the addresses is, I'll tell you, it's in Destin, Florida, and it's just the FedEx address. And again, the unit will not be shipped there. It does not have to be shipped to that address. Another little tip is when you're typing in your address and it auto-populates right above there, and you see the matching address, click that address, because sometimes if you type it all out yourself and try to move forward, it doesn't want to accept it for whatever reason. So as you're typing it again and you see it auto-populate above, click that to confirm that address. And then once you move forward and you check, it'll come up and it'll populate the total cost instead of telling you that the service is not available in your area. And that's how you'll know that you're golden. But here is the trick. Once you get to that point and you see the total cost, scroll down a little bit and there'll be a shipping address. Click that little pencil on the right hand side there to edit and change that shipping address to wherever you want it to be shipped to, wherever you're at. If you're at an RV resort somewhere and you're going to be there, at least a week, because it took a little less than a week for us to get ours after we placed the order. Just put in wherever you want it to be shipped to. It doesn't have to be at that address that you put in for the service. And another thing, that address you do not have to take the unit and go back to that address to activate the unit. You can activate it anywhere where you're at. So that's the whole thing that doesn't make a lot of sense right now, why they make you go through this process, because it works regardless of where you're at. It may not have used to be that way, but that's the way it is now. We put in that address at the FedEx in Destin, and this was when we were on our way back from California, and we drove right past that FedEx and came on back to Orlando, Florida, 1,000 Trails there, and that's where we had it shipped to. We picked it up, unboxed it, really simple. You have your satellite, you have your router, and you have your stand that the satellite goes on. That's it, just those 3 things. So the first thing you do when you're setting it up is you download the app, the Starlink app. It'll walk you through the process, and one of the first things it does is it has you point your phone in the sky, and you'll go in a circle, and it'll give you a meter telling you how many percent. If it gets stuck on 99%, keep moving around until it finds that other satellite. You'll see little dots pop up all over your screen on your phone. That's where the satellites are located. And once it's done at 100%, it'll tell you, and then you can go through the setup process. Really, really simple. You set it up just like you would your own router at home. You name your network, not show Wi-Fi, my Wi-Fi, whatever you want to name it. You select the name, select the password, and then you're in. Now, after that, it used to be that you had to change your address every single time when you moved. That is no longer. We're in a new location right now, and I'll give you an example. And one other thing is, when you're setting this up, you've selected your network and everything for the satellite dish. Give it a couple minutes. It'll say offline for quite a while. The dish won't be moving and you'll think something's wrong. Just give it time to work, and eventually it'll move and it'll find the satellite, and then you'll be good. First thing you want is your base and your satellite dish. It's got plenty of cord so that you can move it out to, if you're in a wooded area, you can move it out in a little area that doesn't have any obstructions so that you can get a clear signal. But this is really simple. There's just a notch in this right here, and there's a little notch inside this. You just line those up and it goes right in. To take that off, you just push that button right there and it slips right off. Really simple. All right, so you got your satellite set up, open air here. You got the plug coming from the satellite to the router. Plugs in right down here, just like that. Now all we have to do is plug this into power. Now I have power outside here, but I'm just gonna plug it right here inside the door. First thing you wanna do is go into your Wi-Fi settings, just like you would for any Wi-Fi connection, and find the name of your satellite dish that you set up. So now on my phone, I've connected to the satellite Wi-Fi through my Wi-Fi settings. Now I need to go back to the Starlink app. So now it still says offline, but as you can see, the satellite started to move. So it just takes a little bit of time. If you go to settings and you scroll down and it says stow Starlink, this is where you hit stow when you're getting ready to put it away. So I hit stow and then I hit OK, and watch it go down. Now it's in stow position and you're ready to go. If you decide you didn't want to do that and you're still set up here, you can click unstow. But there it goes. Actually, it just took a few seconds. Searching. Now this is where you're going to start to think that there's something wrong, because it stopped, but yet it's saying still that it's offline. Just be patient with it, and pretty soon it connects. If you have issues with it connecting, it may be too many obstructions, so move it out a little bit. And the quickest way to really do it, I think, is just hit the stow button again, hit OK, and it stows. Then come back and unstow it, and then it's going to search for your satellite again. So I'm doing a speed test on the app itself right now, and it's showing 100 megabytes per second download and 214 megabytes per second upload. That speed will vary. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's a little higher, sometimes the download will be higher than the upload. But again, today's video, I just wanted to show you how you can get it, because a lot of people are saying that they're still waiting. As long as you have an address that'll work on the system, again, just change the shipping address and have it shipped to you, and that address that you put in to get the service has nothing to do with your entire service at all after that. Everywhere we go, we don't have to put in a new address, we just plug it in and it goes. So, but just remember to be patient. It takes a little while for it to start up. So hopefully this video was helpful to at least one of you out there, and if so, I'd say it's successful. I'd say it's time to, what, Michelle? She said call it a day. See you next week.
Let's call it a day.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, click that little bell, and hit that thumbs up. See you next week.